let's keep going. The perfect relationship. So the first one is you must set the goal in the relationship. What is the purpose that you're going to give this relationship? Okay. Now, here's the key. Information is not healing. Knowing this is not going to change anything. What changes everything? Yes. Application. Actually applying the information that you learn is when everything changes. Not you learning it and then thinking you know it. That changes nothing. So information is not healing. Application is healing. So we'll move to the second one. Okay. So in part 2, or in step 2, remember this is about the perfect relationship. And so in the relationship that you have, whoever's what you're picking a hobby, right? So you set the goal on the relationship. What purpose are you going to give to it? Now, number 2 is you must master and learn what the separated self is. The separated self. Okay? Have you seen the videos on the separated self? No?
I don't remember what it was.
Just to give you, yes. Well, just to give you the separated self. This might look familiar for you. Persona, shadow, personality. Okay, those are the 3 parts to the separated self. So the you who is doing a Course in Miracles, the you who's walking around here in this world has 3 components within yourself. You have the persona, you have the shadow, and you have the personality. Did any of you see the videos on this? Yeah?
Long time ago.
Okay, alright. So the you, who's the decision maker? In A Course in Miracles. Who's the you that Jesus is talking to?
It's much higher up.
Is it?
Personality.
Yeah.
No, on the chart it is.
Personality.
The decision maker is the personality?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know that. I had no idea. Did you know that?
No, I don't think we called it that.
No.
Actually, I don't have a name.
The you who walks into a bookstore and picks up A Course in Miracles. The you who Ken used to describe as the decision maker. Alright? Ken used to describe the decision maker as being outside of time and space. There's 2 decision makers. There's you who wrote the script, and there's you then who's in the script. The you who walked into the store and bought the book A Course in Miracles is the personality you chose to experience this lifetime.
And that's the decision maker.
That is the decision maker who walked in and decided, I want to buy that book A Course in Miracles. Okay? And that is only one part of you. Okay? There's you then, the persona. Do you know what the persona is?
I thought I did, but obviously
Right.
not.
The persona is the image of yourself that you're creating every single day.
And that can change.
Of course. But it's the persona who was in and wants to become enlightened. It's the persona who wants to waken up. The persona is basically the ego in itself, who is creating itself. So the persona basically is the image the ego wants to create for itself, and it needs your cooperation and your help to do it. Okay? So Carl Jung described the persona as the packaging of the ego. It's how we all like to be perceived in public. If I was to say to you, Jodie, how's your reputation? What would you say?
In what arena, my reputation?
You what?
In what arena? I would say my reputation in my family is one,
And your friends?
and my friends. I don't know, I'd have to ask them. I don't know, I don't care.
You see, your reputation is
care.
what you've been building all your life.
Yeah.
So imagine if,
Yeah,
if
it's
someone,
funny
if,
because
yeah, if someone
I
says
don't
something,
care anymore.
yeah, but if someone says something nasty about you behind your back and you find out about it,
It's none of my business.
yeah,
Oh, if I find out about it?
yeah. Do you know?
I just go, that's their problem, I don't know.
But you see, you know, take most of the world, 99.9% of the world,
Mhm.
you know, they will kill for their reputation.
Really?
They will basically take you to court if you say anything about it.
Oh, nowadays, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what this is the persona that they're creating. It's their achievements, it's their goals, it's basically who I am.
And that's the part that wants to awaken.
Yes. So what happens here, we come into the world as a personality. And in that personality, okay, there's parts of it we like and there's parts we don't like. Okay? Now, the parts that we don't like is called the shadow. Now, you've all heard about the shadow in the course. You've all read about the shadow in the course.
In the course.
Yeah?
I've read a lot about the shadow, but not in the course.
That's in the course. It's in the course. Jesus talks about the shadow a lot in the course. So the shadow is everything, it's the entirety of all our own self-hate. It's everything we hate about ourselves.
But isn't it mostly subconscious?
The shadow is
Right.
unconscious. Mostly
But-
unconscious.
right.
Parts of it are
But
subconscious.
we're slowly
Yeah,
bringing it up with our forgiveness opportunities.
Yes, but ultimately in this world what happens is when we come across our shadow, we used to, we want to get rid of it. We don't want to be close to our shadow. So what happens, say, in the course is, this is what happens, right? We have these group of people, and we have these group of people. Okay? Now, do you know who these two groups of people are in the course? These are our special hits, and these are our special loves.
Oh,
So
right.
what we do is, we project our shadow onto everybody we don't like. And we project our persona onto everybody we do like. Now, these are our special loves relationships, of course. These are all the like-minded people we like. The persona always likes to be around the image of itself that is created. And then the shadow, what we're doing is we're trying to get rid of everything we don't like about ourselves. We project it onto all these people we don't like, and now we get them as far away from us as possible. So these two groups of people are kept separate in our lives. You ever have a dinner party, or you ever go somewhere, is this person going, is that person going? You're trying to figure out who's going to be sitting where. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be beside this person, or maybe you don't want to be beside that person, or, you know, people, this is the background that people do to events and everything else, like, because they don't want to be sitting beside anybody they don't like. No one likes to be beside anything they don't like about themselves, so they try to get it as far away as possible. So this is the separated self. Okay, so if you're in the perfect relationship, okay, and let's say, you know, that I'm in this relationship with Deirdre, okay? Now, for me to have the perfect relationship with you, I must have a full understanding of everything who Deirdre is. I must know that Deirdre is separate itself, the three parts to her. I know that there's stuff to Deirdre that she really, really likes, and the people that she really likes, the persona. I know there's also stuff that she doesn't like, her own self-hate. I know she has a personality. I know the type of personality she has. I know what she likes, what she doesn't like. So now what happens in this, why is this so important in this relationship? Is because now I don't take anything personal anymore. Yeah? You know, Deirdre's having a bad day and she's angry with someone. Right? I don't take that onto myself. I just realise that what has happened is Deirdre's projecting her shadow onto someone. Perfectly normal. Nothing wrong with it. That's what the separated self does. Okay, it's going to get up every day and it's going to project out. We are projectors. We can't stop projecting.
But what if you just don't want to be around that energy of projecting out the stuff with people you're around?
You see, as long as you're unconscious, you're doing it and you're not aware of it. times you're going to become aware of it. That is just the downside to being separated. All right, there's a lot of pluses to being separated, but there's more negatives to being separated. All right, one of the negatives is we're always projecting. You see, if you believe that you're separate, you can't avoid believing that you're guilty. One comes with the other. The separation comes with guilt, isn't that right? It's impossible that you can believe that you're separate and not experience guilt at some level. Right? You might feel the guilt at a conscious level, but it's in there unconsciously, and it will, at some stage, be projected out onto other people. So as long as you wish to be separated, this is something that you're going to do. You can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. So the only way to avoid this is actually to wake up. You know?
So when you were saying though, if you're to have that perfect relationship with somebody, you have to understand
Yes.
all parts of them. And if they have had a bad day and they come home and they're projecting, if you, who set the goal to have this perfect relationship, doesn't like the energy of the person who's projecting their shadow,
Yeah.
then what are you supposed to be doing about that?
That's where we're coming to next time.
All right.
All right, we're going to come to that part. All right. So, you see, sorry?
Sorry, quick question, Michael. Pretty much in your drawing, I feel that those parts are all equal in size,
Yeah.
but somehow I sense that the shadow is way, way bigger, like has a bigger piece of the pie here in the illusion and that maybe the objective, metaphorically speaking, is to make it a smaller piece of the pie till there is none left.
That's exactly
Okay.
what happens.
Okay.
And the other key, you have to remember this too. All right. It's the persona that creates the shadow. As long as you are creating a persona, you're creating a shadow to go with it. Because both of these are dualistic. You can't have one without the other.
Can you
Right, put it this way, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, you use Deirdre. That you see Deirdre, right? You see Deirdre, right, differently than everybody else. All right, you're seeing Deirdre as amazing. You know, you're seeing her as special. What are you doing in that instant when you do that?
Projecting that?
No, you are projecting, but what you're doing is you're creating
A
separation.
persona.
No, but you're creating separation. Because you're saying Deirdre now
yes.
is different to everybody else.
Yes, I see
so
what
you're
you're
separating Deirdre from everybody else.
Yeah.
So now what you're doing is you've created Deirdre as someone special, but not only that, you've created a shadow now to go along with Deirdre. Because you can't have a special love without a special hate.
Right, but it also feels like you're increasing your persona. For example, I don't know everybody in this room, but I like them already because they're in this room.
Yeah.
And I made that up
Yeah.
because they like something that they're trying to be a better person or wake up or do something different than with the insanity going on here. So, you know, that feels like that makes my persona part larger.
Yeah.
Not the shadow part,
See-
but I don't know. Did all of those? So, do we want to collapse our persona also? Okay.
Jesus starts right at the beginning of the course and he tells us that. And he says, don't make me out to be anybody special. He says,
Right.
I'm just an elder brother.
Right.
What he's really saying straight away is don't separate me from everybody else. I'm one with you, I'm the same as you, I'm the same as everybody else here, we're all one. So don't make me out to be any way different than anybody else. So right at the beginning of the course he's really saying to us, don't do this. So as long as you go through life and you're creating special people in your life, you're creating trouble in your life. Do you know?
Yes. I hear what you're saying, but the increasing the special loves feels so much better than increasing the special hates. Is that an ego trick?
Yes, of course it is.
Okay.
Of course it is. And this is the whole point of this, is for you to realize, you know, you could be going around your day saying, I'm not doing anybody any harm, but you're creating all the time. Remember the two most powerful lines in the Course is this, right? Is I give meaning to everything I see.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I see, I give meaning to.
Right.
Okay, and I choose all my experiences.
Right.
So that means if I give meaning to everything I see, then I can give a new interpretation to what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Course is about. It's about us looking at life, at ourselves, from a different perspective.
Isn't that what Choose Again, brother?
Exactly. And remember,
Okay.
when, that's how the whole Course started, was there has to be another way.
And that comes from
Exactly.
the personality,
Yeah.
the choose again.
Yeah. So what I would say to people is, the way this works in this world, right? You show somebody a picture and you say, right, is that right or wrong? Or something, you know what I mean? Like, and you say, you know, this person's story, is this story right or wrong? So we're looking at the one story, and we're all trying to figure out, is that right or wrong? And half the world is saying it's right, and half the world is saying it's wrong. So there's only one picture. Yeah? Okay? So let's say that this is the story. Okay? Or sorry, this is the picture. And everybody's looking at this picture and they're deciding, is this picture right or is this picture wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people are doing with the Course in Miracles. They're looking at the book and they're saying, is this course right or is this course wrong? But when you wake up, here's what the truth is. There's two pictures. Okay? It's not that there's just one picture and is this right or wrong. There's actually two pictures. So when you're asked to look at a picture and choose right or wrong, and say, no, there's another way to look at this. There is always another way to see yourself. There's always another way to perceive in this world.
Here. In this
So there's false perception and there's true perception. So the more that you're waking up, you're just seeing another picture. You're seeing another way to look at the world. You're seeing another way to live in the world. And you're making a different choice. That's the choose again, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're asked to choose again, in any situation, you can look at a picture, or you can look at someone and say, right, can I see this differently? So here's the key. Any time that you're in pain, fear, or guilt, it's always because you have looked at the picture wrong. You have looked at it with your ego. And you're feeding your ego. You're energizing your ego, because that's what keeps the ego alive. It keeps it in awareness. It's guilt, it's fear, it's pain, it's suffering. The more you suffer, the stronger the ego becomes. Because remember, the ego is everything that heaven is not. Okay, so there's two pictures. Do you remember, I think there's a chapter called The Two Pictures. Okay, and one picture, it looks like there's diamonds and rubies and all of this. Remember the two pictures Jesus talks about? And he says if you look at them closely, it's tears and blood. Okay, but there's another picture, and it's a beautiful picture. It's the picture of innocence. So when we're looking at people, we can look and we can see the guilt on them, the darkness on them, or we can look and we can see the innocence. So the way this works is we must use forgiveness with the darkness to reveal the innocence. That's the two pictures. Okay? So
wouldn't you say the nightly news is always the picture on the left?
yeah.
Okay.
Now why is that important to people? Why do people love the news?
Well, some of us don't love the news and try to avoid it at all costs.
You don't watch the news.
Yeah.
We can project our shadow.
Yeah. But that's because you're probably doing the course. Yeah.
Yeah.
People love the news because they get to see the bad people. They get to
Oh.
see the guilt
Yeah.
in other people.
You're right, and you start to feel good. Well,
Yes.
I wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why the news has always been popular in an unconscious world and always will be popular in an unconscious world, because everybody loves to see the guilt in other people. They love to see who's to blame for this. They love
It seems like the ego is addicted to drama and change.
completely, because that's
Yeah.
what the ego is.
Because even the next day, the news is boring and the atrocity could still be going on. And
That's
it's
right.
like, find some new stuff to be excited about.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
right. So the next thing that we have to do is you must remember, this is all to do with the perfect relationship. And it's all about understanding. If you don't understand all of these dynamics, then you're going to be very confused within the relationship. So the first one is you set the goal of the relationship. What purpose am I giving this relationship? Am I giving it to wake up, or am I giving it to the ego? Because you can only give it to one or the other. You give the relationship to love, to God, to truth, or you give it to the ego, which is pain, suffering, lies, and deceit. Because wherever you give the relationship to, they're going to use it for that. That's the choice and the power that you have. Okay? So number 3, you must learn and master what projection is. Because if you don't understand what projection is, you will never understand what forgiveness is. So what is projection?
It's choosing one of those scenes or works of art, whatever you want to call it. It's picking.
But let's just start first of all. What is projection?
So it's taking whatever you have feeling on the side of you and putting it out onto somebody else and saying they own it. Actually, it's theirs. It's not yours.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that?
Easily.
Very unconsciously.
Yeah. You see, again, if you're going to have
perception, your perception makes the projection.
exactly.
So whatever, like I said earlier, if you think it's true or not, you're right. You're just going to project. People look for the evidence of what they already believe to be true, so it shows up out there. You go, see, I was right.
See,
But when you do that, does that mean that you make yourself separate from that person? Because you said we're always projectors, so even after you wake up, you're still projecting, but then you're not separate.
Yeah.
But in this case, are you making yourself separate from that other situation or person or whatever?
yeah. You see, we are projectors. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We can't stop projecting.
Even when we awaken.
Yes.
When we awaken, we
we're-
still project.
We're projectors.
Really?
Jesus says it right at the beginning of the course. Ken actually, and Helen, when they were editing the book, Ken kind of made projection for the ego and extension for heaven, for love. But extension and projection are the exact same thing. They mean the same thing. Okay, so we are projectors. So heaven, what do we do in heaven? All we do is continually is extend what's inside us, outside us. Is that right?
So we continually project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
what
always confusing to
Yeah.
me.
It was something they
extension
changed
and
the word.
projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, and I really didn't. I can understand why Jesus originally used projection for love, because it's much stronger. Because in heaven we are projecting love outside of ourselves all the time. That's how we were created. We are the extension of God and awareness. So it's important to understand this, right? That you can't stop projecting. So stop trying. I've come across a lot of students of the course, and they keep talking about that they're when they try to stop projecting any day now. Well, God loves you.
Good luck.
Good luck with that thing, because you can't do that. Now, again, this is about the perfect relationship. So it's about understanding the dynamics that goes on within each and every one of us, all right? So projection is something that we do all the time. So what we project is what's inside ourselves. And if we believe ourselves to be guilty, we're going to project that guilt. In heaven, we believe ourselves to be love. And that's all we project all the time. That's what heaven is. We extend that love all the time outside of ourselves. So the key here is what's in the bank, what's in our unconscious mind, is what we believe ourselves to be, is what we're going to project. So when you see someone getting really angry with someone, that person is being truly honest. Why?
Because they're projecting.
They're doing what comes naturally.
Yeah.
They're doing what's come naturally. You walk out on and you see any two people arguing in the street, those two people are doing what comes naturally. They're being honest. But from A Course in Miracles perspective, they're being dishonest. At least one of them's been dishonest. Okay? Because one of them now should be using forgiveness of one of those two people arguing. So one of them has been honest, projecting their guilt onto the other. That's coming from the ego. Okay, so you can be honest, you can be loyal to the ego and say, okay, I don't want to waken up. I don't want peace and love and happiness. I want chaos, mayhem. No, you're being honest. You're setting the goal. Okay, now you're being honest to the ego. That's okay. But if you're doing A Course in Miracles, honesty in A Course in Miracles now means I must apply forgiveness. So let's just look at projection first, right? Projection is a defense mechanism that involves taking out our own unacceptable actions and justifying them to either ourselves or to other people. We may act in an unacceptable manner and then justify those actions by blaming someone else as the reason why we have acted in that way. Okay? So, for instance, you might hate someone, but your ego tells you that such hatred is unacceptable. The ego will solve this problem for you by telling you that they probably hate you more. So now you are free to hate them. So you see the way this works. Ego, if you want to hate someone, if you want to project onto someone, if you want to put your guilt onto someone else, you will find a way. And that's what your ego is very, very clever at doing. It will find a way for you to justify you hating someone else. It'll find a way for just about to you to justify anything to do with anybody else. All you have to do is give an invite to the ego and watch the ego in play.
I don't think you have to invite it.
No, but I'm just saying this, you know, on a conscious level.
You almost have to disinvite it to get it
Exactly.
to
Well, you
shut
actually
up.
have to. Jesus says in the Course, Jody, a very good point. He says the only difference between me and you is this: I chose against the ego. So what you're saying is 100% right.
Okay.
You have to disinvite it by choosing against it. I got another question then from a woman, and she said she was getting some psychotherapy did from this teacher of A Course in Miracles, and your man had told her, distract the ego while you do this. And she went, is this right? Is that right? Was that teacher of the Course right?
Distract.
Yeah.
Because he's still, the ego's still there. You're just circling.
That guy doesn't know what he's chatting about.
Exactly.
Do you know the way? Distract?
Distract the
I mean, the whole point of forgiveness and doing the Course is to undo the ego.
Right.
Why would you
Right.
distract the ego? Is really not doing anything with it about. All you're doing is suppressing it.
Right.
You're burying it and you're hiding it away somewhere. And you're going, oh no, I'm not going to. I'm keeping you, but I'm not going to do anything with you. I'm not going to apply forgiveness or anything else. I'm going to keep my ego.
Which brings up a good point too, which is like when you're in that situation and you say apply forgiveness, if you're not feeling it, what doesn't make any difference? And that's, you know, been, well, I mean, I kind of know, but the question, how do you actually get to the point where you feel it other than to awaken, you know? Yeah.
It is, it is. So, really what this is all about is understanding the dynamics of what goes on in relationships. Remember, the goal here is for the perfect relationship. Now, you can be using these, you know, all of these with, you know, all your relationships. But try to focus in on one person, just to use this as a way of understanding all relationships. Because these dynamics that's happening here is in all relationships. Okay, if you don't set the goal in all your relationships, then you're giving them to the ego. Okay, you must master and learn to separate itself. And you also must master and learn projection. Then you must master and learn what forgiveness is.
So just a quick one then. So to master it, is to choose against it. Is that how you master it?
Understand it first, Edward.
Yeah.
So when you see anybody being angry with anybody, that's projection. That person feels horrible about themselves, and they're trying to make them feel better by putting their guilt onto someone else. Okay, they're not a bad person. They're just asleep.
Very wounded.
We condemn people by their actions all the time. And I say to people, don't judge the person, judge the action.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because the action is what we're asked to choose against, not the people, not the person involved. So it's for you now to understand that anytime Paul would be kind of angry or upset or irritated or annoyed, all he has done, right, is trying to make himself feel better by getting rid of the guilt that he's feeling horrible inside. Now, he doesn't decide, oh, I'm going to project now. It comes, you know, it'll build up, it'll build up, it'll build up, and then it'll just full-blown rage, you know. And this is why forgiveness is so important if you're using it every day, because if you're using forgiveness every day, then you won't get into this states of rage, okay? Because that's what forgiveness does. It empties the bank. So it's important to understand the dynamics of what's going on in the relationship, okay, of projection. Don't take things personally in relationships. It's not about you. You know, when someone's in a bad mood, we take it up, it's all about me then. You know, what did I do wrong? Why is that person in a bad mood? And we take it on ourselves, and we get all worried for them. We get all upset for them. We get all these, you know, we bring in so much drama then just because this person's in a bad mood. So forgiveness really then is the antidote or the correction that you must understand for projection. So what I see in you is what I have not forgiven in myself. That's what forgiveness is. Okay? Now, the way this works, and this is a very, very important point, all right? What we deny, we suppress. Okay? What we suppress, we project. And what we project, we react to. This is the laws of projection and how it works. So everything that you react to is what you have denied. So it's kind of like two people could be in the same situation. One person will react differently to the other person. Why?
Because it triggers different things for different people.
Yeah.
It's just
Because it could be what you're saying, you have already forgiven yourself. And what I'm saying it now, I haven't. So I'll react differently to you. I haven't denied it within myself. And what I haven't denied, I won't suppress. And what I don't suppress, I won't project. And what I don't project, I won't react to. Okay? So everything that you react to outside of yourself is something that you need to heal within yourself. So all you have to do is, what is it you react? You have to be brutally honest now. You have to look at the news, and you have to look at people around you, and you have to be brutally honest. The problem with everybody that's doing A Course in Miracles is the moment they start doing the course, they start to try to be good. Oh, I can't think that thing, and I can't do this thing. Oh, I'm doing a course. Oh, yeah, I'm even the Son of God. You know, I can't think those things anymore. So all of a sudden now they start to bury more and more and more stuff. They actually do the opposite of what Jesus is saying in the Course. And what Jesus is really saying, if you have someone to tell them to fuck off, tell them to fuck off. Seriously. You know, the worst thing you can do is have that thought of someone, piss off, you're annoying me, and keep it inside your mind. It's the worst thing you can do. But people do this because they're doing A Course in Miracles, think, I have to be all holy, I have to be all godly. Oh, I can't, I'm doing A Course, I can't allow people to think that I would think this way now. Thoughts are everything. Okay? And if you're really deceiving yourself if you think that thoughts have no effects. Remember what the workbook lesson says? It says there are no neutral thoughts. All thoughts have effects. Okay? So that's what we need to understand. So, yeah?
Michael, I think Deirdre touched on this earlier. So I can think of some people in my life, and I feel that I've done my forgiveness with them. Yet I choose not to hang with them at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I mean, you don't have to dive in and say, I'd like to be with this negative person every day, all day. It's the never-ending forgiveness opportunity. It's
That
just
would be
like,
the ego.
so just, you can forgive
Of course.
and just like uninvite them into your life if you choose. I mean, maybe they will have an epiphany, but it's not up to me to change the person. I'm just going to change how I think about them.
Exactly.
But I don't have to send them an invitation.
That's right.
anymore. Okay.
Really, it's not about physical here at all. This is about how you think. It's not about the
Okay.
spoken words. It's not about your
Okay.
physical presence.
Because the ego keeps popping in there and saying, well, you should really make peace and make them a likable person. I'm like, no, I don't think so. It seems like a never-ending job.
How do you react
I'm
to
not
that?
here to correct the world. I feel like I'm just here to correct, and I have a pretty good time at saying, where is it I fill in the blank, whatever I'm seeing out there. The scene, whether it's the news or another person who said something to me that seemed like it was insulting at the time, but I'm, you know, and some of the people are family members, and it's really hard to disengage on one level. On the other level, it's such a blessing to disengage. So I was like, I think it's the ego trying to tap on my shoulder saying, you should make this right, you should include them back in your life. And it's like, yeah, I don't wanna. So.
No. It's always about how you truly become, how you truly feel about these people. You see, the more that you practice forgiveness, the more you detach.
I just feel like they're doing the best they can, and I forgive them.
No.
No?
You were doing so well there up until
Okay,
that
so
point.
that was my next question.
You were doing
Yeah.
so well, Judy, up until you said that.
Okay, go for it, because I keep having this nagging, well, but why even put that in there? So help me with
because ultimately now you're really talking about forgiving them or changing them. Never, you see, you said earlier on, you're not here to correct the world, but the world is here to correct you.
To correct me, right.
You know, that's what the world is. You know, we stand back and we allow the world now, we look honestly at the world and we say, right, what's wrong here in the world is what's wrong in my mind. What I see needs fixing in the world needs fixing in me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if you justify, well, that is the way that person is, then you have broken that. You're kind of saying, well, there is a problem with this.
The way the person is,
Yeah.
forgive them for what they did not do.
Let me read this for you. Let me
great.
read this. Let me never forgive you for what you have done to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You hear that, Diane? Let me never forgive you for what you have done to me. Has that been honest?
Mm-hmm.
I would say so.
Yeah. Why? Let me never forgive you. What a strong statement to make for what you have done to me. Remember what the Course is all about? Let me forgive you for what you have not done. If I forgive you for what you have done for me, or done to me, then that's forgiveness to destroy. I think that's what you're talking about, Judy.
Right.
There's a part of your story
I knew there was something wrong
that's
in
still
that term.
there.
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
still believe that there's a part of the problem that's still theirs.
Yeah.
And that's not forgiveness.
Yeah, and every time I would say it, I go, that doesn't sound right. But I couldn't find that sentence you just read. Yeah. Very good.
So it's really important in forgiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never ever think that for one moment you can or will be asked to forgive anyone else. It's impossible that you can forgive anybody else for anything. Does that make sense, Deirdre?
It's a toughie for me.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And it's a toughie for everybody doing the course too.
Right. Right.
Because we're going to do a little bit in the afternoon is forgiveness to destroy. But really, I just wanted to put it in because projection and forgiveness go together. Because it's forgiveness that undoes the projections of guilt. Okay? So forgiveness that undoes, it doesn't undo projection, it undoes our projections of guilt. So it actually is forgiveness that begins the process of healing our minds. Okay? So that's number 4. Then we'll go on quickly to number 5.